So, fuck yes. Welcome back to the Hype. I'm Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardison. Woo! Samantha Garrison.
What?
Emily Black.
Yo.
And special guest this week, Mr. Paul Krueger.
Ohio.
Paul, it's good to have you back.
Yes, this is my third time on, which I think...
I thought it was your fourth.
No, third.
Third.
Does this technically qualify me yet for friend of the show status?
No.
Yeah. Wait.
No.
How does one define friend of the show status?
The show has no friends.
Oh. That's so sad for the show.
And
Show's
now we're
very
down.
lonely. Wait, are the other podcasts on the network our show's friends?
They might be friends with each other, but not with this one.
Oh.
You shouldn't. You can't be friends with your boss. You know.
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way.
That's something
No.
you're gonna have to learn when we have like our coworker meeting.
Yeah.
When
We
a
get to- we
dog's
get to sit at the
podcast
table over
launches,
here. Yeah.
like
But the problem, Brian, is that they all thought that they were your friends, and then they listened to this episode.
And they're just like, what?
Yeah.
Ah, bummer. So that's a hell of an intro right there. Let's do a quick where have you been doing? Or actually, you know what, Paul, you have some pretty cool stuff to plug. I'll let you plug right up in front.
Oh, sweet. I love putting plugs in front.
you and me both, buddy.
Okay.
Nothing you say can top what just happened.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I stand corrected.
I know a thing or two about topping.
You and me both.
Good Lord. Your plug, sir.
Great.
All right. I'll show everybody my big plug. I have a book coming out this September 24th from Del Rey Books, best known for a lot of the Star Wars books they've put out over the years. This one is not a Star Wars book.
Oh, never mind. You can stop now.
It is called Steel Crow Saga, and it is my epic fantasy examination of the legacy of colonialism as seen through the lens of Pokemon.
So it's
Sounds
not
so
related
cool.
to your other book.
No, completely new thing. This is what happens when I watch way too much Toonami as a child, and then I turn 30. Like, it's just it's one of the weirder things I've ever done. It's Avatar, it's Full Metal Alchemist, it's Pokemon. It is everything that makes me me in book form. I'm really proud of it and really excited for it to come out, and I can't wait for people to read it.
And are you done? You're just waiting on publishing now?
Well,
Or are you still working on it a little bit?
I'm working on a whole other book now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unrelated to Steel Crow Saga. I'll be able to talk more about it at some point, but what I can say right now is that it is a book about two wizards who are mad at each other and capitalism, and not in that order.
Nice.
That sounds like my life.
Yeah.
I am intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a quick where have you been doing, and I can go first. I have finished, and I keep saying I'm going to mention it, now I just will. I finished my first playthrough of probably 2 of Detroit Become Human. If you're a fan of Blade Runner or really like any sort of like cyborg-esque, android-esque sci-fi, this game is fantastic. It's mostly like a visual novel with some like QTEs a little bit here and there, but if you've played any David Cage game, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're into it at all, even the idea, it's made in such a way that you don't have to be good at video games. You can even turn down the difficulty where it's basically, I just want to play the story and make the choices and just kind of have like a choose your own adventure. And it still works. I cannot recommend this game highly enough. It is so well done. It's engaging. It's fun. You really feel the weight of each decision, and it works in a way that feels like organic and fun. I love the hell out of it, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on an anime kick actually, and this watch assignment kind of spurned it on. I'm watching through Naruto Shippuden, a thing I watched in high school quite aggressively. The whole Naruto thing I was really into in high school, and then got to college and kind of fell out of it. And I'm trying to catch up with all 500 episodes. Woo! Minus the filler, though.
It's a hell of a mountain to climb.
Oh,
It's
yes.
been rebranded recently, Paul.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw this tweet that went viral where some guy who teaches English in Japan saw his kids doing the jutsu hand signals, and so he walked up to them and he did some jutsu signs back, and they were like, "Whoa, sensei, you watch Boruto?" And he was like, "No, but I've watched Naruto." And they were like, "Whoa, there's a show about Boruto's dad?"
Oh, no, I feel really old.
And so we were talking off the mic about the idea of rebranding all Naruto things as just like Boruto's dad Shippuden.
I like it. I'll go with it. So for this, I've been watching anime recently and getting back into an anime kick, and I'm watching Boruto.
There you go.
Boruto's dad, the show.
That's fantastic. Sam, what about you?
I was just I've really been struggling with this because I knew you were gonna ask me, and
It does happen.
I've been to the theater and watched a lot of stuff, and everything's just been kind of meh. So I'm gonna just do like a lightning round here.
Go for it.
All right. So Pet Cemetery, boring as shit. Us was good. Captain Marvel was boring as shit.
Whoa.
Let her finish her lightning round.
Okay.
Santa Clarita Diet season 3, dope as always. Queer Eye season 3, pretty dope. Love those barbecue ladies. And I just finished a book called The Bullet Journal Method in an attempt to get my life in order. So I just rapid logged my fucking where have you been doing?
It worked.
All right.
For my notes, I got about maybe half of that. Good.
Good enough. Emily, what about you?
I finally finished Locke Key by Joe Hill. I bought book 6 like a year ago, and then by the time I went to read book 6, it had been so long since I read the other books that I couldn't remember what the fucking story was, and so I had to like make time to go back and reread all the books. So it's what took me so long. So I started from the beginning, and then I just marathoned them all. Like every night, I would read half a book. And still pretty dope. Really great book. If you don't know it, it's just about this house that's full of like keys that do weird shit, like turn people into giants or make them dead. And then they turn into a ghost. It's not just that they die. Anyway,
You could just say kill them. but
yeah, just, turn them dead sounds, more poetic.
It does.
But and then there's like some evil demon shit happening, and it's about kids, and it's pretty fascinating. I was a little disappointed by the ending. I felt like the ending was a little wrapped up a little too neatly and too quickly. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it, and it is a good book that people
check it out.
should read.
Last but not least.
Yeah, Lock and Key is very good. I enjoyed that a lot. But where I have been doing lately is I've been watching a show on Netflix called Kingdom. Any of you know it?
I've heard of it. I have not watched it.
Okay, so Kingdom is this K-drama. It's like a medieval period, like Joseon period zombie story, where the kingdom is like deeply corrupt, and then zombies start appearing. And essentially, the thing about zombies is that they are always a metaphor for something else, or else it's just empty spectacle. Like with the Romero movies, at least the first one was about consumerism, not really about The Walking Dead. And in this particular case, the zombies are like a symbol of the corruption at the top of society and the effects it has on the people at the bottom. And the moral of the story really kind of comes down to, no, but seriously, eat the rich. And they do, in spectacular fashion. It's Kingdom. That's what it's called. It's 6 episodes long. It's on Netflix. A second and final 6-episode season will be premiering at some point later this year, I think. And I'm really excited to see how it all ends up, because the cliffhanger it ends on is downright cruel.
I will wait till I hear the second one is coming, and then I'll watch it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, that's everybody, right? Cool. Okay, so the movie for today that I have been trying to work into the schedule in some way for a while now, because I saw it right when it hit DVD and I fell in love with it instantly, is Your Name.
Or Kimi no Wa, if you're annoying.
Or that. It's a movie, came out in 2016. It was the highest grossing movie of the year in Japan. It's one of the highest grossing of all time in Japan. It just knocked down every barrier it could and just steamrolled. And everyone who likes anime, for the most part, saw it. And I'm not a huge anime guy. Like, I like Bebop, I like full FMA, like I like some of them, but pretty much the mainstream is about where I end. And this one, I heard that I had to see it, and I did. Loved it. So I had to bring it to the table at some point or another. But before we dive into it and start breaking it down and whatnot, we do have to do a 30-second breakdown. Down. Paul, are you ready for it?
I am absolutely ready.
That's good. You know what? You can do better than me last week. Last week was the worst I think we've ever had, and it was just me. It was awful. Okay, so here we go. Your Name in 30 seconds. Here we go.
Okay, Mitsuha is a girl out in the boonies. Taki is a boy in Tokyo. They live very separate lives, except for one day when they totally don't. And suddenly they're switching bodies. And normally I would think, oh, great, body switching. I haven't seen this a million times before, but I haven't. I haven't seen this a million times before. This is unique, and it's incredibly special, and somehow it makes time being a flat circle somehow work. And it's incredibly Shintoist and unique, and the music is really good, and I have absolutely no idea how they intend to localize this to North America, which we can talk about later, but I am very
Out of time.
yes.
What happens in the movie?
I'm going to give you a solid C on that one because you did a great job explaining your feelings of the movie, but didn't say much of what happens in it. But I think it was pretty good. I liked it.
It's a body switch movie.
Yeah,
what else
yeah.
do you need to know?
But then, like, she dies.
Yes. Well,
Or
no,
does
she
she?
was always dead.
She died in the past. It turns out it was also a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Time travel body switch.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a hard
That
time.
old trope.
No, I got a hard time being objective about this one because I first saw this like a week after I had ended a long distance relationship. And so watching this movie in particular was like having my soul scrubbed with like a piece of pumice stone in like the best way. I came out of it feeling so cleaned and good. And I had cried a great deal and it was excellent.
I don't think this one hit me for tears, but it did just like, I got really wrapped up in it. And like, that's why, like, when I first saw it, I'm like, I got to give this thing a bit of a break before I try to bring it to ATH because I need to kind of like watch this objectively and like try to be able to break it down because I just got totally swept up in it and like I couldn't critique it because it was just, I loved it. But honestly, the place where I want to start with this is what you already kind of hit on. For those of you who don't know, J.J. Abrams bought the rights to this movie the day after he saw it. He saw it, loved it, and was like, I'm going to make that.
Can you imagine being having the ability to do that?
Yeah, no
That is
kidding.
so
It'd be really nice to have the amount of money of like, I'm going to buy that property.
Yeah. And the connections.
But that said, I kind of wish he wasn't the guy to do it. But that's kind of where I want to start is, do we think this would even work as a North American USA production?
Let's take it back.
Sure.
Do we think this would work live action? And
I
I think the answer is a resounding no.
I think it would work.
I
live
think it would
action.
work.
I
think
think,
it- yeah.
okay, here, I think about this a lot with Disney remaking all of their shit live
Sure.
action. And it's always just a nostalgia wank. There's never anything substantive to these movies because I think you need, especially here where it is body switching and there is that gender element and stuff, animation allows you the freedom and the space to explore that in a way that using real people who look like teenagers or are portraying teenagers would make it uncomfortable, bordering on funny. And I think having them be kind of, I don't know, like, what's the word? Like simulacra of people so that we can deal with the emotionality of it instead of the gross physicality of it actually is what made this movie so special. I would never want to see a live action version of this. I would find it really upsetting in the same way that I found like a live action Beast fucking upsetting.
Yeah. I don't.
Sorry.
No. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think it would have to be totally westernized for it to work. Like they'd have to basically leave all the religion out of it. Like they'd have to just basically just chuck it down.
But when people did that with Marie Kondo, everything was stripped away, and that like Shintoism makes things. Shintoism is so special and so unique as a religion, and it's so the crux of this movie.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
Well, have y'all heard what the pitch is? Like this has been going around in the trades. The pitch that's been going around right now is a black kid from Chicago and a Native American girl from out in the sticks. And I don't really know how they expect that to really work. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know what tribal traditions they plan to draw on, but the defense that keeps getting offered for this project is that the Japanese investors behind Your Name specifically want an Americanized remake. If they wanted a Japanified remake, they would just get a Japanese production company to do it. They want an American remake to happen. They have the money to make one happen, so it's going to happen regardless of whether we want it to or not.
I think there have been times in the past when there are too many times. This is the frequent thing that happens in fandom. When something is announced that we don't understand and immediately everyone goes, this is going to be terrible. It's the worst. Oh my God. And I've done it too. We've all done it.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather wait and see because clearly they have an idea. They have a vision. They've got, depending on the cast, depending on the director, unless JJ's directing, depending on the writers. Obviously he's producing. I don't necessarily know that he's directing. But it depends on who it is, who's in charge of it, the creative team, and then what they do with it. So, because there's been so many times when we've been like, you can't do that, and then you've seen it and gone, oh, actually, that was pretty good. So, I think it can be done. It depends on who is responsible for doing it.
Yeah, I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
For better or worse, I kind of get defensive when it comes to animated projects in general that get the live action treatment. Because there's this kind of pushback that like animation isn't really legitimate until it has like a remake or a live action version of it. And especially with anime, there's always this like it's kid stuff or it's not for the general populace. They need to kind of reconvert it to something that a general population can enjoy. And for something like this movie that is so good and can touch on such interesting themes and speak to any age, really, it seems weird that animation is like, this isn't good enough. Like that, I know that they want to make more, but I get defensive around that with all sorts of anime and animated projects in general.
I'm kind of in the middle between both of you on this one, or the table on this one, because I get it where Emily's totally right. Depending on who the crew is and who the creative team is, it could work. Especially, I kind of don't mind that pitch. I'm not sure what Native American things are going for, and I really hope it's not just Native Americans. They do magic, because that's what happens a lot when people go after these things.
Which is why I'm uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, and it's like, if you actually know what tribe and stuff, and you're doing the research, then by all means. But I'm just always kind of nervous when I
they
hear
got
the Native
like
American.
a native director.
Yeah,
that would be really.
that would
I
also be
think
really
that
good.
would, if you got like a native director or writer, I
Yeah,
think that would
absolutely.
be the only way to kind of make it.
Yeah,
Eric Heiserer is writing it.
nope.
Well, I think Eric is fucking talented as hell.
Oh, he is.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think he would do the right amount of research.
I think so, yeah. But it's just one of those, will they let him? It's like there's just so many moving parts.
That's the
that we
question,
just,
will they let him?
Yeah, we just
That is
don't
the
know
question.
until we get there. Because you could have the greatest screenwriter in the world, and if that's not what the studio wants, that's not what you
But
get.
I do know Eric will be very conscientious
Absolutely,
of these issues.
I mean,
Absolutely.
he's an amazing writer.
yeah, he's an amazing person too.
Yeah.
But let's move kind of actually into the movie itself. I think that's kind of everything we can really say on if there will be a remake. Well, there probably will be.
Yeah, when it makes as much money as you outlined at the top
Yeah.
of this, eventually the American box office is going to want to cut.
It's the 4th highest grossing film of all time in Japan. It's the highest grossing Japanese made film in Japan of all time.
Yep.
The other 3 above it are American films. It's like Star Wars, Avatar, and I don't remember the third. Maybe Titanic, I don't remember. But yeah, this movie is huge. So yes, somebody will want to cash a check on this, and I just hope they do it with the best of intentions. So let's kind of move into the actual movie. And I believe where I started on our note sheet was, do we think that the body switching works? Is this something that works? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Does it worry?
I think it does work, but I think it works because the movie does everything it can to make sure you aren't looking at its mechanics too closely. Yeah. It is always keeping you distracted with that really good Radwimp soundtrack and with the rapid fire montages and all these beautiful time-lapse shots, because if you start thinking about the logistics of why hadn't they tried to call each other before that moment on the bridge? Why had they not noticed that the dates on their calendars aren't lining up on their phones? Why have they not, why has Taki not heard of the Itomori disaster? I think if a town got wiped off the face of the planet by a comet, all of us would know about it, especially if it only happened 3 years ago.
And 3 years ago and a few miles from your home.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my only complaint about this movie. I kind of excuse it because the movie itself was so beautiful and it was all about the character and all of that. But the minute they start leaving notes for each other, I was like, why aren't they just calling each other? And then I went, time travel.
Yeah.
So it was, and then it was that's a half an hour or so before you realize it. So I just spent most of the movie just waiting for them to catch up to what I'd already figured out. But I think that doesn't necessarily, I think people who are used to criticizing film and used to watching films, we're more likely to see that, whereas maybe your average viewer isn't. I don't know.
I was fooled.
I didn't pick up on time travel right away, but I knew there had to be something science fiction to it, or Abrams would have bought it. I just didn't.
Well,
think
because I noticed that nobody in her town was really on the phone very often. I thought
Yeah.
the time travel was far further back than 3 years.
Because they
But-
said the comet came every 200 years, and then I'm
Yeah.
going through what
You
does her
never
life
see them
look
on
like?
phones in her town.
And see, I was waiting for the drop, so to speak, to happen because I've watched a lot of anime, and there's usually some sort of twist that kind of puts the premise into an interesting kind of spiral.
Well, she was rural, so it could just be a matter of reception. She was rural, living in the mountains. I guess and also as a teenager in a country where people tend to be more reserved and not very forward with reaching out and contacting, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I sure as shit would not call
Or at
and,
least emailing. They weren't even emailing each other.
Or Googling each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff that would be the normal first thing that you would do.
I never Google people. I always forget that that's an option. I'm so dumb.
Wow.
This movie catered to all my weird social blind spots, I guess, and that's why I was so surprised when
that's,
I was genuinely surprised.
so was I, and I think that was kind of just it was what I said earlier. I got so sucked into this movie that I wasn't even trying to figure it out. Because usually, even I haven't
dudes,
talked.
I've watched The Lake House a non-zero amount of times, so I should have known.
But that's is I I was so impressed with a movie that, like, especially we do this shit weekly. Like, we watch a lot of movies. It's tough for me to go into anything without a critical eye. When a movie can actually take me out of it, like, holy shit. And I think it kind of comes down to that gender swapping. Like, I think it's kind of like what Paul was saying a moment ago. I think it really worked because it felt honest in a way. Like, it felt like, yeah, what is he supposed to be? 16, 17?
Yeah, I think they're both about juniors in high school.
Yeah, just about 18. Like, just about there. So, yeah, when he wakes up in a girl's body, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And, like, it's even like you have that moment of, like, oh, I shouldn't do this for her. And then he does anyways.
She kind of does it too.
She totally does it.
It's totally normal that you would do that.
I love when she goes to the bathroom, like right away. She's just like, "Well, that was weird."
I just love the pause of. I have to go to the bathroom.
It's like
so
that scene in Jumanji with Jack Black being like, "It has a handle."
Well, and like as somebody who loves and consumes a lot of anime, one of my least favorite aspects about anime is the fan service. And it is kind of gross when they've got these worlds where like they're these teen girls and it's like, oh no, senpai, you fell onto me again. Pervert. And in this particular case, I mean, like the fan service, like, because it is fan service a little bit. But
there's an upskirt shot and then when she's on her bike, like there's still a little bit in there.
Yeah, but like it doesn't go unremarked. Like literally everybody calls Taki on his shit. Mitsuha does, Yatsuha does. Yeah. And they even give Mitsuha a chance to return the favor, and I appreciated that. They sidestepped one of the most problematic and indefensible things about anime.
Yeah.
It's also platonic, and I really, really hope to God they keep that for the adaptation, that this was a platonic. Is she lesbian? Because it seemed like she actually preferred women, because she says she's jealous when he gets to go on the date with the girl.
I think what they're hinting at, and I'm not sure, because I'm not the best with Japanese culture. I really should be better, but I think what they were trying to hint at is that she was bi. Because I think I know it was platonic the whole way through, but clearly they meant a lot to each other, and it never really fully went romantic. But you could see it going that way.
That it wasn't romantic. I'm obsessed with like men and women being friends in film and being able to love each other and not having to have it be more than that.
And because of the way that it worked in this movie, we never saw that romantic twist. You just saw that they deeply loved each other and cared for each other. And honestly, I'm kind of fine with it going either way. Like if they end up together, I'm fine with it because I really liked them together.
They were
and if
in
they
love.
I only got a romantic reading on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way this was
I felt like it
non-romantic.
was platonic.
I got it that they loved each other, but they didn't really like. They knew each other better than they ever expected to, but they still had never, in that one moment, they never spent any time together.
Yeah,
They
it
got
reminded
maybe 2 minutes.
It reminded me a lot of Roman Holiday, where you don't realize they're in love until the end. You know, because like Gregory Peck is so deeply cynical and she's so naive, and it's just too big of a gap. And then you realize like these people have changed each other in such an irrevocable way that it can't be anything but love. And it can't be anything but romantic love.
That would totally work for this, yeah.
They were literally under each other's skin. And that for me, it's a different kind of portrayal of romantic love. And that's what I really, like, I was all in. Because again, Roman Holiday is like my favorite movie outside of Lord of the Rings, right? And like this was such a great like teenage reflection of that. Yeah. So I thought it was nothing but romantic.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting though. Yeah, we saw the same movie and because of our own experiences and our own feelings saw a completely different thing in their relationship,
that's
which is kind of cool.
Is so special about it, because it's like did anyone else watch? I watched the Japanese subtitles.
Oh yeah, we should have asked up front, subs or dubs.
I'm a sub guy. Except for Cowboy Bebop for some reason.
I did both, just because I actually really like dubbed movies. All animation is inherently dubbed, and that's how other countries watch our animated movies. I love watching our animated movies in other it's my favorite thing. Like watching.
What's the default on Amazon? Because that's however I watched it.
Okay.
I think the default on Amazon was dubbed.
Okay, then that's how I watched it.
Yeah, I bought it both ways because I love to know, and it's really funny because I think, subtitled is a very different experience because you miss out on some of those visuals that are so spectacular. Like the lighting tells its own story. It's amazing.
If you dub and do subtitles, which I frequently do because my partner, English isn't his native language, so he likes to dub it, watch the dubbed, but also have the subtitles in case he needs like the written word. And it's fascinating to watch it that way because the subtitles and the dub do not match up.
No,
there's a completely different, and sometimes they don't match up in a way that changes the meaning of the sentence completely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that whole scene on the rooftop where in the original Japanese, it's about Mitsuha tripping up and using feminine pronouns to refer to herself, and then they had to change it for the English version. Do you not remember this scene?
I remember the scene, but
Yeah,
I've only
I-
watched
yeah,
the one
yeah.
version. So
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't watch this dub with subtitles. I'm just saying I frequently do.
oh, I was
Like,
gonna.
just this morning, I was watching an episode of Samurai Champloo that way, and I noticed a line that was just completely like it changed the scene completely.
well, it's also you lose a lot of character in the sub version
Mm.
because a lot of the character lines when they do the English dub, they put the character back in. Like this is a
Yeah.
word we don't
Oh,
have
the
in our
dub
language.
version
Yeah.
seems much better to me whenever I do watch that. Yeah.
I'm always back and forth because I always the way that I look at it, and Sam's totally right. All animation is inherently dubbed. That's just how it works. But I always kind of go when, especially in anime, the actors they get for anime are usually just stellar, like great voice actors. And a lot of times when it comes over to our side, they don't. Sometimes they get a really good cast. Sometimes they get who's available, and you never really know what you're gonna get until you turn it on.
You get Steve Bloom for everything forever.
Yeah.
He's every voice. Yeah, that's the weird twist in this movie. He's the voice of everyone.
I'm actually voiced by Steve Bloom. I was waiting for a chance to tell you all.
Holy shit!
I think the one real problem with the dub actually has nothing to do with the voice cast and everything to do with the fact that they dubbed all of the songs into English, and
That
the,
was a problem.
and the lyrics were like, because the guy's English is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like his accent is like 95% there. The lyrics are grammatically 95% there, but that last 5% is so jarring on both counts. And it's like you could have just left this in Japanese. Like we all know we're watching a Japanese film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
and
'cause
it
that's
would
what
have
took place in Tokyo,
That's
like-
what the dub of Agretzko does. She screams in like Japanese.
yeah.
And then
point.
she talks in English.
That was a weird thing.
Anybody who would get annoyed at having to listen to a Japanese song is not going to fucking watch this movie.
no.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are people that know who their audience is.
I do love that in English he kind of sounded like the mountain goats though.
Oh no, I'll never
boy.
be able to unhear that.
Suddenly, you
I
don't
will
like the movie
stick
as much.
to the subversion because that will be ruined forever. So just kind of jumping back into the movie a little bit more. This is kind of a strange way to tell a story. Like it's not your everyday gender swapping, body swapping, even time travel movie by kind of combining them all into this mismatched ball of thing. And I think I know the answer to this question already around the table, but did the storytelling work for you or did it ever kind of pull you out? Like I know for me, it never pulled me out, but I have heard from some of the people recommended it to, is like, I just didn't really get where it was going. And then once it got there, I was confused as to how it got there.
Actually, my very first note when watching this movie is I'm bored. I'm waiting for the protagonist to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
But that was about the first maybe 10 minutes of the movie.
Sure.
The rest of the movie was fucking fabulous. So I started this movie with kind of like whatever. This movie's gonna suck. And then I was like, wait a minute. Whoa. Okay. You know. So
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't. It
Oh,
was,
that was me. Yeah, I was into it quite a bit from the beginning. I think right around the time when they started explaining the weaving, kind of in that beginning, where I was like, okay, I'm into it.
Yeah,
They're doing
that
something
was
with this
where it
weaving,
really-
and from then on, then as the time travel thing happened, it was just totally hooked.
also
for it.
the art for that weaving, all the little inserts and stuff. Were
The sound when the
so
little things
beautiful.
knock against each other was
Yeah.
really it was exquisite.
it's so
was
soothing.
one of the most well animated
Oh my
movies
God.
when they were doing the dancing.
Oh
Because
man,
so often, I think, especially in anime, once you get the faster motion, it starts to look. You get those in betweens,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like those in between frames where people have like 6 faces. This had none of that. Like, I swear, I want to go just like frame by frame because everything would be perfect.
I think the
And
only time there's a
lighting,
little
like,
stutter is when they had to do like the CGI, like the sweeping shots. Every time there's one of those, there's a little stutter in the characters, but otherwise, yeah,
It was
nearly
amazing.
flawless.
And the
And
lighting.
you're right, the lighting's
It was
ooh.
incredible. Like, okay, DreamWorks Animation gets Roger Deakins to consult on like half of their projects for lighting, and this looked better than all of that. And that's like not a knock
Throwing
on
shade
Deakins.
at Roger
no,
Deakins.
no, no, no.
Yeah, we heard what you said, Sam. You hate Roger Deakins. It's
No,
fine.
that's never. I would never. But like, that's what I'm saying is how good this was. Like,
Oh yeah.
like Roger Deakins is watching this, being like, oh,
Why can't I do that for DreamWorks?
I love how they animated the food. And usually when I watch anime, I like to watch that part of it.
There was a lot of food in
There
this.
was a lot of food, and like when they pour the liquid into the cup, it like was so smooth. And I was like, oh god, this is amazing.
I going back just a step to like the montage of like when they're doing the interchange like back and forth, when she's taking photos of all the food, and then the next thing is stop spending my money. like, I really like this. And just like just the whole back and forth between all of it, like just the way they kind of cut it in a way that it felt like they were having a conversation, even though you knew that they weren't. But the way they're just both exclaiming, it's like, oh, they're kind of yelling at each other. It's like, stop spending all my money. You work too many shifts because you're spending my money.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of why this works so well in the format that it's in, is because anime will play fast and loose with time quite aggressively. And that really works in this because they kind of establish it. They let you know what's going on. They give a rhythm to all these movies. And this one had a great rhythm for that.
The pacing throughout, I think, was really good. I might agree with Emily. The beginning's a little slow, but it doesn't
because
really.
you know it's a body switch,
Exactly,
and it takes them a really long time to figure it out.
Yeah, it takes. I do like the way they did it though. Like I like the first time you see Miha, she is Taki, and then it's gone immediately. By the time she's at breakfast, like, oh, you're normal today. It's like, oh, that was yesterday. Like, so it kind of plays a little funky with time. But that's kind of a really good way to say this will be a body switching movie. Like, if you didn't watch a trailer, this is a body switching movie. We'll get to it. So this is what's going to happen, but let's introduce the character first. And I thought that was really smart and like not something a lot of people do.
Yeah, and I mean, I cannot say that this is necessarily true of all anime because who knows what anime makes it over here versus the sheer tonnage that just stays in Japan and we don't know about. But based on the large amount that I've been watching for pretty much my entire life, one of the things I like about anime is that their general approach to world building is this will probably not make sense. And I'm not going to explain any of it. But if you trust me and you come with me on this, you'll have a good time. And like those first 10 minutes, I agree. Are they kind of slow? Yeah, sure. And maybe just a lifetime of watching a lot of anime train me to kind of expect that for them to front load. Because everything they do in the first 10 minutes, the Kachikami sake is in there, the weaving, all the imagery of like the meteors parting, but the trains coming together, like all the repeated imagery of things coming together and coming apart. All the sliding door imagery, that one recurring shot of different sliding doors. Like everything you need to know about the movie is in the first 10 minutes. And once they lay all of that on the table, they just keep coming back to it from different angles, in different contexts, with different moods. And I guess just like a lifetime of anime watching kind of trained me to expect that. And I actually really liked the patience with which Makoto Shinkai doled all of that information out. Do I know what's happening? Yeah, sure. But it's kind of fun to see the moment when they put it together, when you've just been patiently waiting for them to put it together this whole time. Or at least that's my experience with it.
I think I got so into the world that Miha's from. Like I got so into just like her sister and her grandma and like all of it that I didn't really mind spending the time in the town with them. Like it was one of those, if I didn't really like the characters, I think I would have probably bucked it against a little bit and like, come on, let's get to where we're going. But since I did like all of them so much, and that actually kind of leads into my major complaint with the movie, and it's a very nitpicky complaint. I admit that up front. I thought they did such a good job building up these side characters. I was annoyed we didn't get more of them.
Yes, because there was all those. What I loved is that they never went into like love triangle storylines on either side, because there was like the dude that had a crush on her and whatever. But yeah, I fell in love with all of them, and I was so deeply invested in the whole town's survival at the end. But yeah, I just wanted to see more.
Yeah, like I wanted to see more of her dad, like because the dad seems like just such a rich character. There's so much to do with, and they do what they can, but there's only so much they can do while still focusing on the story. Like there's so many threads that they can just go crazy off in different directions. But
threads.
It's such a well-developed world, though.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
And when they revealed like the whole time difference, and then it was just him away from everyone, I started missing all those side characters.
Yeah,
because it became just the
Really
one character.
worried about Grandma.
Yeah.
I also really liked the pacing that the third act went with, because it actually let everything resolve itself. I liked that it let them grow up. Like he didn't know that he'd given her the second chance at life, and then when they finally met, because even if it had ended on a tragic note like that, it would have been so beautiful.
Yeah.
But when they met, it was just that much more satisfying, because it's like
the way that they built up the tension in that meeting, because they almost don't, and then, they pass each other, and you're like, wait, no, that.
That whole last half hour was just that. I was like, no, don't, come on, no.
But that's her. You guys know each other.
Don't
You
end
just
here.
forgot.
Don't end here. Movie, do not end here.
Yeah.
Don't look at the runtime.
I was so afraid it was going to end when they saw each other in the train.
Yeah.
I was like, if the credits roll now, I'm going to smack somebody.
Because have any of y'all seen any of Makoto Shinkai's other films?
I don't think so, no.
A lot of them do. All of his films are preoccupied with people that are separated by time or circumstance or magic or whatever. Every single one of them works along this theme, and so many of them do end with that tragic note of they never quite connect, or they never connect in the same way they did at the beginning when everything was good. And so watching this film, I was like, no, this motherfucker is going to do it to me again. No, I will not let you do this to me. No. And then, yeah. And then that was the nicest surprise of all, to see them actually come together and to get that moment of catharsis.
I was so shocked that she got saved. I guess I've been conditioned to be like, oh, it's time travel. You're never going to be able to
Something's
save
going to
her.
get in the way of this.
They're all going to die still, and you're going to be heartbroken because you failed again, and that's the end of the story.
No, I think they do like a good job of letting you believe that for just long enough after he wakes up.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is one great thing is we've come conditioned to we feel like we can predict the ending, and you believed that he might not have saved them, and that was kind of cool because when you get a happy ending, sometimes it's real tricky because the audience is going to see it coming. But if you can make everybody believe, like fucking Toy Story, when those toys are holding hands, like it's Toy Story.
Yeah.
You know they're not going to all die, but like for a split second, didn't y'all be like, I don't know, are they going to kill off the toys? Because I seriously thought maybe they were going to do it, and
They don't want to make a fourth one? Damn.
Oh no, they made a fourth one. But yeah, I think you guys are spot on. Like that moment of, oh shit, he might have failed. Mm-hmm. It worked really well. But for me, I think the entire movie is beautiful, and everybody should see it and should stop listening now as we're spoiling everything and just watch the movie.
They're not listening to this unless they've seen it.
I've heard from enough people like, yeah, just listen to it anyway.
Well, that's your own fault then.
But for me, the moment that solidifies this as one of my favorite movies of the past 10 years is that very brief moment at Twilight where they actually get to talk to each other for the first
Oh,
time.
the magic hour. So good.
It was so well done, and like it was just one of those like, oh, you guys are perfect. Like,
Oh my god, I was crying.
oh my god, it just works
Especially
so
when
well.
like the weight of like, you're touched and you're touched, and then they laugh.
I love that she's so excited to see him, and she's like, oh wait, you've been touching my boobs.
I love too when she looks at it's her hand, right? That she has the writing on it. Yeah, she looks at her hand and it's like, I love you. The fuck am I supposed to find you with that shit?
But that pen drop though, is that not one of the cruelest things?
I was sad that I got it right because I was guessing the pen's gonna fucking drop, and it did. I was like, oh no! Don't give me what I was expecting.
As soon as they say we're running out of time, it's like, what's it?
Yeah.
Right.
But I can keep just singing the movie's praises. But those are things that I like. Like, to actually get me into a moment like that is tough. I am rather cynical at this point. Like, to be actually in that moment and just loving every second of it, I'm beyond impressed. Why wasn't this up for Best Animated Film?
I have wondered about that. I think it kind of just comes down to the Academy doesn't like anime.
Yeah. I mean, they gave it to Spirited Away.
Yeah, but that was Lasseter brought that to the
That's
States.
true. That's true. Yep.
So here's what happens with Best Animated Feature, because you'll notice that aside from this year, the Best Animated Feature never wins. Yep. It's because it's all it's more true of animation than everywhere else. It's more studio money because the competition is so tight. Like, all animated movies, like, are pretty good because they're so expensive and so many people are working on them, and like there's just like so many kind of rules and parameters and stuff, right? So it really does just come down to who has the money. It's almost always Disney. And
Disney has money? That doesn't seem like them.
And like they also are the only ones that really care. All the other animation studios kind of stand down, and unless Lasseter is bringing a Japanese movie to the States, which is like the only good thing that shitbag's ever done, thank you very much. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. So that's why it just didn't have an American studio backing it.
I mean, that makes sense. It's just very upsetting.
I'd never heard of this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you would have just because of the Abrams tie-in, because that's the first thing, like, that made a lot of noise. When Abrams bought it, like, right away, people were
I
like,
probably
whoa.
tuned it out because I didn't know the name of the movie. I was like, oh, he bought something. Okay.
They keep not saying the name of the movie. What's your name, movie?
I'm going to take a look at the notes really quick. Have we hit everything? I think we have.
I wrote a note in my notes that I've got to go back and rewatch the movie and figure out what the fuck I was talking about, because I wrote a note that said, ooh, remember that skirt embroidery trick? And I was like, what?
That's when
with the little hedgehog, and because the guy
flowers.
slashes her skirt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
at the,
Oh,
at the
she
at the
makes a
diner.
little picture. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I. Yeah, right. Okay, I wrote that down because that's a pretty cool technique. I'm gonna remember that, and then I forgot it.
Just one moment about her, like that. Is she the restaurant manager?
Yeah, Okudera.
Yeah. So she's supposed to be like what, 3-4 years older than him?
Yeah, which by the way, fun little bit of foreshadowing that he's into older women.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, damn.
Galaxy brain, man.
And so is Mitsuha.
Yeah.
Get it, girl.
Yeah,
That poor woman has 2 people coming after her.
yeah.
Get them both, girl.
Yeah. They're gonna form a triad. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
It's going to be great. But I thought her character, again, just kind of jumping back to the side characters, the fact that they became such good friends and stayed friends, I thought was a wonderful touch to the movie. Because, I mean, a lot of people lose touch with who they're friends with high school. Like, I think I have a few, but, like, I've lost touch with a good majority of them. And this one, having that friend who just stayed with them and realized, like, oh, you had a crush on me for a while, but now you don't. But that's okay. We can be friends. And, like, I thought it was really nice. She even went on the trip with them.
Platonic friendship is great.
And it worked really well. Like, I bought it. And
I like too that she noticed he was different when they were on their date and he had to be himself. And she was like, maybe I don't like you either. Maybe I like
That
this
was a nice
version of
touch.
you that's like
Yeah.
a girl.
oh, we just don't work. How about that? I also like
Which
the
is so healthy.
Yeah, and I also like the touch at the end, which I did not pick up the first time I watched it. She got married. They don't ever say she got married. She just has a wedding ring.
That was such a great shot where she's just in passing. She's like, I
Yep.
hope you do well. And then the hand passes by the camera with the ring. And
I hope they keep that again for the American version because we push relationships as these like all or nothing things. Like I was listening to some comedian do stand up the other day where he talks about like, oh well, we teach you to have these relationships when you're a teenager, and then do you know that people have that something like no relationship from someone under their 30s lasts long. I'm butchering it, but basically his point was that like too many people like have multiple breakups by the time they're 30, and it's like, why is that bad? Like we have this belief that you should meet someone when you're like 18 and then you marry them and then you live happily ever after. That's just not the way it works, and that's okay.
Movies.
Yeah.
Thanks, John
That's
Hughes.
what I'm saying. That's what I liked about this one.
Also,
this one
everyone
was like,
sucks when they're 18. They
Yeah.
let
Oh
them
my
grow
God.
up so that they could be less sucky when they
Yeah.
finally met.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's kind of everything I wanted to touch on this movie. Is there anything that I have not brought up that you guys wanted to bring up that I missed?
Not enough dogs. There's only
Fair.
one dog in this movie.
But it was a very good dog.
was a very
very
good
good dog.
Yeah.
I was really worried about the dog. Like I'm serious when I should put this on my list of movies if I ever fucking finish this fucking podcast. But like I was really concerned when the town was gonna explode and they were like, oh well, we can't save everybody. I guess we better go. And I was like, get the goddamn dog.
I did like that there was spit sake. I want to try making some.
Oh yeah, I also
It
like
was
that.
plot
Oh,
relevant too.
I don't
Yeah.
want to ruin my line.
I'm sorry.
But I do like how
You
surprised she
can
was that
still
he
say
drank
it.
it.
And she was so mortified.
you pervert.
Okay, well, then I think we are ready to move into quotes. Quotes. I can go first because I've already mentioned mine now twice, and I'm just going to go back to the other one that I liked a little bit more. And it has to be when they first meet for the time, and they're having a great moment, and then she just flips out, calls him a pervert, and goes, "You were touching my boobs!" And he's like, "How did you know?" I loved all that moment.
I didn't write down a specific line. I just really like the grandma's explanation of musubi, which is that spam musubi? Is that the same word?
I think the words are related. Yes.
Okay, because I was like delicious. But I like that whole conversation where she was explaining it and explaining like feeling the things inside you can change who you like can become a part of who you are. I just thought that was really cool, and I was like, oh, grandma, that's nice.
I love the grandma.
I liked every time, and this is kind of a cheap. I liked every time that the sister came into the room and was like, "Come on, sister," and then slammed the door. Just that delivery of slamming the door, and it was the same, like almost the same type of delivery each and every single time. And having siblings and having younger kids now, it happens that way. It was such a nice touch.
I liked it toward the end when Taki was kind of wandering the city and feeling his malaise. He says, "I'm not sure if I'm searching for a person or a place or if I'm just searching for a job." That felt so very millennial.
Yeah.
Relatable content hashtag.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess mine's not necessarily a specific moment, but I mean, a specific line. But I guess a moment that I really liked was where the grandma looks into Mitsuha's eyes and then says, "Oh, Mitsuha, you're not really here, are you? You're dreaming right now." and because then that leads into the larger question of like, is this just a thing that Mitsuha's whole family does every once in a while?
I feel like they kind of hint that it is.
You come from a long line of
Yeah,
dreamers.
they said her mom
She
did
said
it.
that
Yeah,
it's
her mom
all
did too.
related to trying to prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what the tradition was that
Yeah.
never got written down.
Oh, neat.
The spirits of these people can dream into others so that
Yeah.
they can maybe save the town.
Yeah.
Is what I took it to mean. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't think you're wrong. I never really fully pieced it together. Okay, so review system for this week. I think this is going to be kind of fitting. It's going to be any science fiction movie with a strong love story.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
The Lake House. Suck it.
I was really afraid you were going to take mine, and then no, you did not.
There was like this is why I had to go first. Like the whole movie, I'm just like, well, now I just want to watch Keanu and Sandra and their remake of a Korean movie that wasn't actually animated to begin with, and that's why this works.
Mine is going to be people might argue with how strong the love story is, but I've always felt it strong. I'm going with Empire Strikes Back, mostly because of Han and Leia, because it's similar-esque where they clearly love each other, but are not really admitting it to themselves yet until the perfect moment where they do. And I think this one kind of has the same sort of thing in there.
I'm gonna go with Terminator because they didn't really get a lot of time together, but in that time, they loved a lifetime's worth.
Nice. That wins. I'll go next. Cloud Atlas, about love and the music and the rhythm of time and how it intersperses amongst each other.
I'm going to go with Her because both of them are movies about your soulmate living inside of your smartphone.
Nice.
Well played, sir.
We did great, guys.
Yeah.
You really nailed that one.
That was a good one. So that brings today's episode to a close, which is unfortunate because I love talking about this movie, but it has to happen at some point.
We should stop and see it again. That's what we should do.
Yeah, I mean, I will absolutely. I bought the movie on Blu-ray for this episode because I had owned like a ripped copy, and I'm like, this isn't good enough. I need to have a better version. And then I almost bought it at Amoeba. Bad choice. It's $60 at Amoeba. Fuck that. So let's do a quick round of plugs, and then we can say goodbye.
Good. The back plug. My
Yes.
second favorite kind of plug.
I like to have them ranked. Okay, so
Yes, it's number 2.
perfect.
All right.
What do they say on Twitter? Paul!
Glass is better than all the other kinds.
Fair enough. Anywho, so for plugs about the show, every Monday, be sure to check out Venture Bros. We are deep in season 4 now, and it's been a blast going back through this one because I don't rewatch this one as much because it's a lot longer, and it's been super, super fun, and keep listening to that. Be sure to check out our articles. We've had a little bit of a break on articles, but they will be coming back. That's everything I have.
This will be announced basically by the time the episode comes out, but Demon Days, my actual play podcast, is going to be coming out on the 24th of April. I'll have some nice artwork for that, poster and all that, coming around Monday or so. So when you hear this, you'll probably have already seen it.
Perfect.
Time travel.
On Tuesdays, you can check out Samwise, an advice podcast in which I, Sam, answer everybody's life questions using the Lord of the Rings extended editions and their special features. And if you want to ask a question, feel free to hit us up on the After the Hype social channels. I have never not been able to answer a question because the Lord of the Rings knows all.
So Stump Samwise is not going very well.
What?
I've been having an event on Venture Bros where I tell people to stump Samwise. It has not been going well.
No, I didn't know that you were. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Every episode, I tell people to stump you, and they haven't done it yet.
dude, the Lord of the Rings is everything. Like, you can't.
You're just fueling my fire more. I will find somebody to get a question that you can't answer, and then you just won't air it.
No, I mean, I know how to admit my shortcomings. I'm not a Boromir.
The Lord of the Rings. All right.
No one should even try now, I guess.
I think that just makes the challenge greater. Prove Sam wrong. Emily, anything to plug?
I have a lot of things that aren't ready yet.
Perfect.
I would also like to plug Obi right here because he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, my dog, who's very loud normally. He's been sitting here the entire time, and you'd never know.
He's
'cause
been
he's
super chill.
good
He's been a
boy.
good boy indeed.
Yeah.
Very good boy. That's the song. Obi is a good boy.
Nice. Paul, you have a couple of books people should pick up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First off, you can follow me on Twitter at NotLikeFreddy. I mostly yell about food or anime, and I occasionally take white people to task. And
Occasionally.
He's also totally wearing a striped shirt right now, like Freddy, so he's a liar.
no, but it's a different patterning, so it's not like Freddy.
On brand.
Yeah,
Well played.
It's definitely better to search for my handle at Not Like Freddy than to look for my actual name because
No, that is one thing I've been meaning to like mention. Like, are you aware that it's impossible to find you on Twitter?
yes, my agent is very displeased with me. But when you come up with a name like Punning Krueger Effect, you can't leave it on the table. My first book, Last Call at the Nightshade Lounge, is about a secret society of bartenders who fight demons with alcohol magic that is available everywhere books are sold.
It's amazing.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. And my next one, Steel Crow Saga, comes out this September 24th from Del Rey Books. Please pre-order. Pre-orders are super important for authors. But if you can't pre-order, just like ask your library to stock it. Do whatever you got to do. Buy my book.
Sounds like a plan. So thank you, Paul, for coming back on. It was a pleasure having you again.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. Like, I don't think I've mentioned this on the mic, but this is actually my favorite movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, did you do it online? I'm not sure if you
You
did.
said before we
on the air.
started
Oh, okay. Yeah.
recording.
No, like, this is actually my favorite movie. So getting a chance to talk about it with you all has been really, really fun.
It explains the shit yes I got when I asked if you wanted to be on it.
I got no poker face.
Yeah.
Even online where you can't see my face, I don't have a poker face.
You might want to look into that at some point. So thank you very much for everyone for listening, and bye.
Bye.